man. Those were some of the bats that I absolutely loved. Back in the day, it seems like Easton kind of took on that technology anyway.
Yeah, we are live.
Um,
We just went live.
oh, are we?
Yeah, just so you
Okay,
know.
cool.
But yeah, so I
All right.
think yeah, there was definitely some good stuff. I didn't realize you swung the combats and stuff. I guess we're just going to dive right into this. BP Hero Podcast Season 9, Episode number 2 here. Checking in with our guy, Stephen Robs. Thanks for joining us. We were just talking about combats. Continue what you were saying. We're just going to go right into
Yeah,
it
no,
here.
they were a big thing in Arizona, like back in 2012 on that time frame. When I got back from Afghanistan and all that, that's when I was really playing, a lot of heavy ball, and they would have bat provided tournaments, and Combat was the one that would sponsor like all those fields in Tucson and Phoenix and provide the bats. But what was crazy about it was they were hotter because they'd have like 2 to 3,000 swings on them. They would never break, but they were hotter than anything that anybody would bring in the field. So it
Yeah.
kind of was a little bit pointless at that point. But at least you knew that they weren't cut.
Yeah,
So
that was kind of the
yeah,
interesting thing about that. They always found a way to like get hot and not have to be cut, but they would break if you did cut them. I always thought that was kind of interesting. You always
yep,
see
yep.
the guys that mess with some of that stuff. I'll say just loosely. Never had
Oh,
much
for
luck cutting
sure.
those things.
No, no. I mean, bat provided tournaments. I always thought that would be like a terrible idea. Um, really, at the end of the day, if you had like a lot of folks that were kind of like the pro players there in the area that could kind of bring some of their equipment out there, you could work with the directors to put those type of tournaments together. And I think you'd probably get a lot of people to want to join that, knowing that it had a little bit of fairness to the game. I don't think we really ever tried that around here in St. Louis, though. But in Arizona, that was huge. They
See,
did that all the time.
so like, what was it? Just you would have a combat. I guess what you have all the usual brands, right?
Yeah, but, some tournaments would try something different. For some reason, I don't know if combat was like the biggest thing out of that area. I would assume that whoever had that Tucson Sports Park, they probably just had to deal with combat, and that was the easiest thing to buy at the time. But the technology was really good. I think that's what transitioned into, if I'm not mistaken, the Eastern Fireflex technology. But I could be
Speculation
wrong
says
on
that.
that.
Yeah, yes. There's
Yeah,
speculation. Coop
yeah. I
denies that.
mean,
I asked Don Cooper about that, and he does deny that fact. But I mean, everybody's got their own theories. I've wondered that for a long time. But would you ever get a straight answer? Who knows, right?
yeah, I mean, they're gonna know more behind the scenes, but they felt pretty similar to me. I loved all the Easton Fireflexes, the original ones that came on. I mean, who doesn't? But yeah, that combat was a pretty good bat. But yeah, we were digging into that before we went live. But yeah, I didn't want to dig into your agenda, man. But yeah, thanks for having me on. It's been a while since you and I have caught up.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I don't see you around as much as I used to. But all in all, dude, I do pay attention to everything you do. You're kind of the original guy that did all the bat reviews, and now it's like skyrocketing all over the place. You have people from the rec level all the way up to the super high level putting bat reviews out there, but you guys have stuck the course, done it, in a pretty good way, and still getting a lot of viewers. And I think people really appreciate that. And I always pay attention to it and watch and check in here and there as much as I can.
Yeah, for
So
sure. And that's always kind of the cool thing too is, like everybody wants to, chat at the ballpark and this and that carry on. But, I have some people that'll ask me, hey, what about this bat? Or, hey, what about that bat? And like, I've done a review on it. They'll say, oh, I guess I missed that one. Like you've never done that to me.
no,
And
no, I mean,
that's how I know you ain't lying to me.
no, you pretty much cover all of them. Really, at the end of the day, it's all preference, right? I mean, you know, most of the time you can tell what's a good bat, what's not a good bat. Really, kind of comes down to what ounce you want to do, along with what type of end load
Yeah,
at
for
the
sure.
and barrel size. It's just three different things, and really, you kind of learn over time over hit as a hitter, like what's going to provide you the most pop. It's funny. The more people that I talk to, I'll use Brandon Keene for example. He went to a heavier bat this past year.
Okay,
He just
first of
felt
all, that guy could hit with a broomstick. I
yeah,
just want to throw that out there.
yeah. I don't think it really matters what you put in Brandon's hands, but it's good that that folks they always work on the game to try to figure out what's going to fit best for their swing, especially with a certain type of ball, a certain type of sanction. It's all different. Really, the only way you're going to really be able to figure that out is is reps or whatnot. So yeah, when you're doing all those reviews, I think it's huge, and you do a good job at mentioning those type of things, especially like covering something like Louisville. They're all great.
Oh yeah.
It just depends on what you want to, what's your preference. It's the same technology. So, but yeah, I mean, cool stuff, dude. Yeah, it's still doing great things, and I love seeing that.
Yeah,
So.
we appreciate it. So let's for the people that may not know, obviously the platform is bigger on the local level, which we do expect. So a lot of people probably know who you are, but for the ones that don't, give us a little background. Who is Stephen Robbs here?
Yeah, so I was born in Granite City, raised in the St. Louis area. Went from Granite City to Collinsville, all the way up to Livingston, and graduated out of Livingston. Played sports for Mount Olive. Really, once I got out of high school, decided to go the military route. Went Army. So did interrogations, military intelligence. That was kind of the route that I went, and spent time in the military. And really, right before I left for the military, I got a small taste of what slow pitch softball was. Played for a local team back in like 2004, 2005. That was called the Hitmen. Some of those guys you'll probably see in senior ball because they were probably in their 30s. They had a couple of young people. They were mostly out of the Alton, Granite City area. A few of them, I still talk to. And really I got a taste of how different baseball was compared to softball, which was absolutely different from a swing perspective. You talk to anybody and they're going to be able to tell you that. And so unfortunately I fell in love with it right before I left. And then I didn't get to do it for like the first year of being in Intel school. But the first unit I got to, which was in Fort Huachuca, I latched on to some base teams there, and really got, dug deep into it from 2008 on. Played in the Arizona area all the way through 2012, and then moved back to St. Louis, and really developed a lot of good habits during my time in Arizona. Got to meet a lot of really, really good ball players that played at a very high level, and they kind of helped, get my swing to where it needed to be and everything else. But really, whatever level you play, whatever age you're at, you're always going to go through kind of a learning curve.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But for me, like I enjoy all the things that's kind of, outside the game. The game itself, we're all addicted to. But building the friendships and what folks call like the family like atmosphere. That's really the most important. Hundreds and hundreds of friends have been developed from this game, and to me, they're kind of always there for you in some sort of capacity.
Oh yeah.
Birthdays, get-togethers. Just something as simple as a social media platform to be able to catch up with people. And so some people I may not see for 5 or 6 years, and then I run into them in a field that's in a completely different state that I didn't even expect. But yeah, been back in the St. Louis area since 2012. Decided to take a position once I got out with the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency with a company called General Dynamics, and I transferred to Royce Geospatial and doing project management and cloud computing for various different things. So now more so, I'm not so much an engineer as I once was. I'm mostly managing projects.
Okay.
And also the West operations lead for the company itself. So that's why I'm out here in DC. This week we had a company review, and really when you hit me up, I was like, this is kind of perfect because I don't have any distractions or anything. No kids.
Wish I could say the same.
Yeah. So it kind of worked out really well. But yeah, man, the game is probably done more for me than I could ever. I appreciate it like crazy. So really, from my goals now moving forward is to try to give back as much as possible. And I really, really enjoy the coaching aspect. Like it's a different experience than playing. And
so explain how you got into the coaching, going from playing. Obviously you started the dabble in the conference as a player, and then basically just full on into coaching, right?
Yeah, I mean, of quite frankly, I didn't feel I was good enough. Really, it was one of those
We'll
things
deal with
where,
that later.
yeah, it's one of those things where I think anybody, you know, if it, to me, I never fault my hitting. I think that I have the confidence to know that, with most folks in our area, I could hit with the best of them. I have my moments where I'm streaky and struggle, but a lot of that is due to being busy or just life catching up, and sometimes that's just softball. You're streaky, but the way I looked at it, just getting a simple taste of what conference was about, and I've played in many conference events in the past, but actually playing in a conference schedule, the amount of work that you have to put in to even be able to compete with anybody that's on that field. I got lucky to be with some military folks and really have, go right into it and have a starting position at the start
Sure.
and really, it's not, I'm not on the same level. If you'd asked me, 5 years ago, maybe it would have been something different. I try not to sugarcoat those type of things. These people are freak athletes.
Oh yeah,
Freak
for sure.
athletes. And it's mind-boggling when you see it, especially like watching the major teams. Just major and I'll say major. When you take major and most of the double A and you compare it to even the levels that are underneath that, there are some night and day differences with some of those guys. You got your freaks that are very top, and then you got the folks that are right underneath that. They really could go one direction or the other. They're going to stay stagnant, continue to get better to get to that level, or they're going to fall off just because of age and and other talent that's coming into the game. So to me, just kind of seeing that for that year that we were there, it became really, really evident to me, and really understanding the game. I've always wanted to be able to run a team and coach a team. It's something I plan on doing for Colton as he gets older in baseball, that sort of thing. When I was a child, I wish, to me, it's kind of like that dad thing. Like, I wish my dad would have done those things for me, things like that. I want to replicate that. So really getting these experiences and all that, I think it's going to kind of give me that future into that as well. But to me, it's giving back too. I do feel like I have a lot of knowledge. I have a lot to offer from that department, and really just having a positive attitude in general. It really goes a long way. And quite frankly, just finding the right group of guys that really give you that type of respect, it helps out as well. So some of these guys used to be my teammates. I mean, it's kind of funny when you look back on that, but
Sure.
they're also guys that 4 or 5 years ago I said from the very start, like, man, they're going to be something great. You just saw the talent.
For sure.
And they continue to get better. So
so you were talking about running the team and kind of learning, evolving from player to coach, and then other things that has to do with coaching. Something I did find funny. Blake, I think it was Blake asked on Facebook, what's harder, running your Thursday night league team or running the conference team? We all know how hard it can be to run a league team.
Gator. Yeah, I'll tell you, our Thursday night team. There's nights it looks like a conference team, so it depends on who we have out there on Thursday nights. We have a core like 5 or 6 guys, and then talent kind of follows each other. So once you get a couple guys out there that are playing, other people want to play together. And we have some of our old Newbury guys that play together with some of the Dogs teams that we played with, along with a few of the guys that play on the Beaches team now. And it's kind of just it's a really fun environment for us to get together. But I have a couple guys on that team that will reach out to me every once in a while and be like, hey, where am I batting? Where am I fielding? I get more questions from that than I do from the conversation. I don't even get that during the year. The only time I get that is like, usually I let my guys understand what their roles are going to be going into each tournament, or they just know from our one-on-ones before the year starts. But running a league team, you still have the select few that are always like, should I wear my cup tonight? It's like, well, bring your damn cup. Why does it matter if you're going to wear a cup or not? Just put it in your bag.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Like simple shit like that. But so I always laugh at that. But, I mean, hell, I was the same way, I guess, when I was 22, 23 years old as well. So, you kind of live and learn.
Yeah. So it was always one thing, I've had my fill of running teams as well. And it's like, where am I playing tonight? Or I've even had people ask me, when I ask them if they want to play, league for the season, they'll say, where do you plan on putting me? on the softball field. I mean, do you want to play or not? It's league, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know why people are going to complicate it.
Nobody really cares. I mean, I've been on league teams where, depending on what time you showed up, is where you batted in the batting order. And to me, like, dude, we were having guys showing up an hour before game time, just sitting there on the bench, and like I was here first, and I'm like,
because they wanted to get more bats in.
Yeah, and what's funny? I used to predicate myself on being early. Now, ever since having kids, I'm never early to anything. So anything that I preach in that regard, I try to stick with it. Like with the conference team, we had a couple guys that would be like a few minutes behind in batting practice or something like that, and I would say 5 minutes early is on time. So now I had to make sure I was getting there 10 minutes early, so people weren't throwing it in my face or whatnot. So as a coach, you try to do more than what your other guys do and stuff like that. And in league, all bets are off at that point. If a guy shows up 1 minute before game time, it doesn't really matter. But it's funny, the type of issues that people come up with are just hilarious to me.
I had a guy ask me one time, I'm out there pitching, and he's not really a tournament guy. He just plays league. And he asked me, he says, are you throwing them a lot of knuckleballs? It's like, he's playing left field. I was like, yeah. He goes, you think you could not do that? Because when they hit them, then they knuckle at me, and it's hard to catch. I was like, yeah, right. Got it, man. Sounds good.
Yeah, we have a guru on our Thursday night team. You've probably seen him play. The dude's probably one of the most talented guys in our area, and he would even attest to it. His name's Ty, and played a little bit with Dudley, played with their dogs team, stuff like that. He's one of the funniest guys I know, and he'll come up to bat and be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna hit. Don't play the pitcher." And he'll just do it just to be funny or something like that. We're just like,
stop.
Thanks, Ty. Yeah, that's cool. So it's. But that's why I love this game, because to me, like, it's hilarious, because you see people that they play for different reasons, right? And I appreciate that. I like guys that have fun, and guys that want to take it seriously or have the time to take it seriously. They put the effort in to be able to do that. And some people put effort in and may not get opportunities or whatnot. And that's hard sometimes to deal with, because I have a lot of friends that I do miss playing with and all that, and folks that have reached out left and right. But the team isn't just about what I want to do. We have sponsors. We have an agenda before the year starts. This off season was a lot of decision making on trying to figure out. A lot of money's invested, so we want to play the A level or higher and get the right people to be able to do that. So. It was a very, very long off season, but I'm really, really excited about what we got going on in the future, and we could dig more into that later. But
sure.
But yeah, it's just going from local ball to, we all would travel like Midwest region to all over the place. In the conference, it's definitely it's a different game. It's a different atmosphere. People that says, "Oh, anybody can just play in conference." I used to be one of those guys that would say some of those things, because you would see things. You're like, why did that person ground out? The dude is 270 pounds of muscle and can't get it out of the freaking infield at the AA level. Well, and do out of their 7 at bats, but when you're watching from afar, you're thinking they're doing it half the time. It's a completely different realm. So, your friends at Ross is a guy from local. He spends a lot of time on different conference teams and stuff, and Ross will be the first person to tell you that the amount of work you got to put in just to go on that field and feel like you could play at that level, there's never enough work. Always constantly have to work. So.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. Like, I've had the pleasure of hitting with Ross a handful. I've known Ross for a long time. We've hit with him 3 or 4 times, I think. And probably the biggest things that you as a player not at that level, I feel like people need to do a better job of absorbing what those people do and what those people say. Like when your guys that play league with you, if they're wanting to get better, pay attention to what the guys like you and the guys that are on your conference team are doing to try and get better. It's one thing I asked Ross. One time I was kind of asking about pitch selection, and it was a simple answer. It was if I'm hitting strikes, I should never make it out. And I was kind of like, damn, he's right. Like, cause I can't remember what the question was. The question was, what do you do with a certain pitch? And his main focus was make sure he's hitting a strike. And
Yeah.
that's a big thing. Pitch selection is a big thing that I feel like a lot of people probably overlook, but it's stuff like that makes the difference. In maybe being like a mid-level D player, low level C too, potentially going further is hitting a good pitch and hitting it well every time.
Yeah, the best hitters on earth. I mean, what I've noticed that they walk a lot. They're doing whatever they can to get on base, and you see the guy. People talk about stat patterns, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you see that here or there, but really on those teams, you only have so many home runs to hit, and they go quick. Trust me, they go quick. So really, folks, being able to pitch selection, I think, it's absolutely the number one thing. I'm never going to hit as good as the guys that are on my team or guys that are at that level for the most part in the conference level. But one thing I can see is when something's being done wrong, or and a lot of times it's coming down to hitting a ball that you should probably never hit, whether that was putting yourself in a situation
Yep.
on fouling something off that that it's a ball that maybe you should have never swung at, or sometimes even getting a bad call. So you do have to work on bad pitches to an extent, depending on getting a 2-strike situation. But I would rather see a guy take a pitch that is a ball that they can't strike, that they don't feel comfortable striking, and then readjusting yourself in the box. If that means you have to take a time to do such to get your mind focused, your strategy should change at that point. Um, he's right about that. I mean, to me, if you're hitting a strike every time, typically you're going to have a higher average. You're going to have a higher OBP. It's just the way it is.
Sure.
And then at that point, once you get pitch selection down, then you can start to develop the other areas, learning how to cut a high ball, up the middle. If the 5-man's not there, different things like that. You notice at this level that infielders come off the lines a lot with 2 strikes because really you're giving your defense the best chances against balls that are coming off 105, 110 mile per hour.
Right.
So, there's a lot that goes with it. It's a very psychological game, and the higher you play, the harder it is.
Sure.
But if you make it easier for the guy behind you, that's how your team wins games. We beat a lot of good teams away last year. We did a lot better than what I expected, and I'm not sugarcoating that. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that guys really put in the work and came more prepared than they ever have in previous years. I think a lot of guys had a chip on their shoulders from being on teams where they didn't perform the way that they thought they could have performed, and they just needed just a little bit of a confidence booster. And that's basically what we saw going into last year. And we've found the right pieces, in my opinion, to fill the gaps that we had, that we learned from.
Sure.
And, so he's right with that pitch selection.
So you were kind of talking about as far as building the roster and that kind of thing. At one point last year, and I do believe a better part of the year, you were a favorite to win B Worlds. Like, what's it like to, just kind of like, I won't necessarily say you don't go, like, you prepare yourself. You're a very prepared person. So it's not like you're just throwing stuff to the wall, seeing what sticks when you're putting this team together. But you put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into putting this team together. And then for people to say, like, hey, this is like you're the favorite. You're one of the favorites for B Worlds. Like, what's that got to be like? To know, okay, like, we got something here.
So what was unique about last year? A lot of people, I don't think, realize this. I came on as a coach after the roster was put together. So I had been asked a couple times by Nate here or there prior, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think I wanted to commit to doing that. I didn't think I was quite ready for it yet. A lot of it had to do with life changes that was going on my end in my personal life. And then I got the itch, got asked again. I think had to be right after Christmas time. And I said, you know what? They showed me the roster. I was like, you know what? Let's go for it. I love all these guys. A lot of potential here. We'll do it. So the fact that I think we went into the year with nobody worrying about losing their job, none of that stuff. It was a pretty solidified roster where it wasn't very big, didn't have a lot of depth, and your confidence was already going to be high because you weren't worried about the behind you,
Yeah.
basically.
Uh-huh.
So the only addition that I got to make, they had asked me what pitcher did I want to bring on board, and there was names thrown at me, whether they were interested or not. Spencer was one of the names that thrown me, which I think Spencer's an excellent player. And then but to me, like Steve Myers, it was a guy that I played military with for a long time, who I think is a fantastic pitcher that a lot of people didn't know about. And to me, like looking at the roster, I was like, you know what, this brings us a guy that's in his low 40s, very fit.
He's in his 40s?
Just one of those. He's 43.
Wow.
Yeah, he's 43. Yeah, and he is ripped out of his mind.
Yeah, he looks good. And he gets around good.
Yeah, the dude, and he's a great pitcher, and to me provided a little bit of that leadership that I think we needed. It might have been a little biased on my end, but it was one of those things to where that was the only decision like I made. So that's what I had to work with, and that's where I brought in, and it was a really, really good team to work with. So I think we. Dude, right out of the bat, Texas Legends. We didn't do the Hall of Fame duel because we only paid to just have a conference patch. We weren't paying for the major, so we weren't trying to get points to get into the major. If I could go back, I wish that we would have, because we definitely would have made it had we played in the duel. I 100% believe that, because all the metrics show that. Probably in the 13 to 16 seed area. I would say more towards the 16, but we went to Texas Legends duel. We came out against Cornerstone, and honestly, it was a shaky game. Really, they had bad pitching the last couple of innings. We got through that game, but once we got that game under our belt, we went to the next game against Classic Glass, and it wasn't even a game the entire game. We were up by 5+ the entire game. Won that game, lost to MPT. It wasn't really MPT. We were up a run through 5. And then, they turned around and put the burners on.
Sure.
And then we came out and won run ruled LSR. Basically put them. I mean, when I mean run rule, it was 4 innings, and then we beat. It was another A or double A team right after that, and then we got Resi at like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
That was a So anyway, we came out at dude. You don't even want to 3 a.m. We had 3 guys playing middle behind Steve, and they were still trying to take Steve's head off. It was hilarious. To me, we're on the sideline. CJ's coming in. I'm like, hey CJ, you ready to go throw? And he's like, no, I'm good. Steve looks at me and I was like, sorry, bud, you're gonna good luck.
Yeah.
At that point, CJ can't see very well at night either. So, I mean, in his defense, but CJ wanted no part of that.
Yeah, right.
Nobody wanted no part of that. If it was our choice, we wish that it would have been pouring, raining, and we could have played the next day. But we came out of Texas Legends 5-4, and we were already on notice. It was our, DW and I were talking back and forth through Messenger. So people were kind of aware, but as the season progressed, it kept getting more awareness. And every metric that you looked at, we were basically the runaway favorite to go win B. I'll never forget going into B World that the whole panel, there was some members were saying, hey, I think they have a shot to make a run in A and do well in that too. And going into World, it was the first tournament where we didn't feel like the underdog. And I don't think the mindsets were different or anything. In fact, I think guys were excited. They were confident. But we had a lot of things that just really didn't go our way. Steve got food poisoning. Couldn't pitch in the first game. Scott did well, though. Scott and CJ, they did well. But, again, I think Steve would have made at least a one-run difference. It's not because they didn't do well. It's just because that's been our leader on the field. It changes the whole mindset of the team.
Oh, for sure.
And then Davey pulls his hamstring in the first at bat as our 3-hole hitter. And let me tell you, this team we played first game, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They were not good at all. We lost by 1 run. It was the worst team we played the entire year. And, and to me, you cannot blame it on the conditions when both teams are having it. We hated it. It sucks. I came home that night just being so frustrated about that wind blowing in, saying, man, if it just was normal conditions, we would have just destroyed that game.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you play on the same field, and you chalk it up as a bad weekend. You had some things that didn't go your way, and the only thing that I was worried about is rolling into the next season, because we had a lot of people that were hitting us up about wanting to play with us the following year. Not that we were like actively recruiting, but I kind of had an idea as to the direction that Davey and Marcus wanted to go going into 2024. So we have 4 sponsors. They're part of that, and they play, but you would never even know that they sponsor, because whether you take them out or anything, it doesn't affect any of those decisions, which is awesome. It's great. It's great as the coach knowing that you have that full power to know they're not going to get mad whether they're playing or not. But luckily they're damn good ball players, so it doesn't really matter for the
right.
most
Makes
part.
your job easy, right?
Yeah, but I kind of knew what the direction was, so I really didn't know 100% how the off season was going to go until we sat down, made sure we had the money locked in. But your question is like, it was way different being an underdog than being a favorite. Like, I don't think it affected the play, but what I think it did do is, for the first time ever, you had the humility kind of set in. You just felt, it's the worst feeling, man. Like, I've been in a lot of big games, and I took it really bad. I have never been that confident going into a world. Like, I literally 110% believe we were going to win B World. I felt that great about the guys. Conference championships, we got 5th. We had a strong shot of even being Resmado. We were playing at our best going into Florida. And so, but congrats to Van Recht. I mean, Van Recht's a good crew. They were the 1 seed for World, and that doesn't happen too often. So they won it, and they're going to be coming and playing A this year too. They picked up a few guys that I think were left over from West Point and LSR. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But yeah. The only difference is that when you're confident and you lose like that, it hurts way worse than when you're the underdog, when you're not expected to win. You know, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be one of those things too. I mean, we've all been there. Obviously, not at the conference level, but you show up to expecting like, all right, this is ours to lose, that kind of thing. And where I'm going with that is, I remember this one time playing at a snowball in Moberly, and there's a few stories to tell there. The one being, I have not seen this until this past, I guess 2 weekends ago. I haven't seen it since then until this past 2 weekends ago. Like, a guy opens a beer, and we go play 3 outs of ball and come back in, and the beer is slushed up. The last time I saw that was when we were playing the snowball at Moberly.
It was cold. That was horrible. But one of the most fun tournaments I've ever played in, by the way.
Hey, we get down around here.
Oh man, it was. First of all, the bar was a lot of fun out there. Our breaks were great.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, like, there's nothing funnier to me, and I try my best. Like I've been there, when you have local teams who come out and they think they're God's gift of softball. They kind of have like that little bit of that mindset, and then you have people from out of town who they have no idea who they are.
Yeah, right.
And then the next thing you know, they're wanting to get in a gunfight or a fist fight, like, right away.
Yeah.
But you can continue. I kind of have a feeling where this is going to go, but you can go ahead.
Well, no. There's a lot of different stories there. He for those that are listening and wondering, he's talking about the bar. So, Moberly is a town of I think at the time, I mean, it doesn't matter, like 12 to 15,000 people, and it's the middle of winter. It's so cold outside, and just put it in perspective, it's so cold outside that the ground, the dirt on the infield never thawed out. It was solid ice all day long. And the sun was starting to set, it was starting to get cool outside, and we were thinking like, oh, well, let's go to the bar. We're wanting to watch a little bit of football and that and carry on. So we go to the bar there in town. I'm not a big bar scene guy in general, so it was kind of even out of my territory. But we go in there, and with the group that we had, we're not going to know a stranger, even if it's somebody we've never met before. We will talk to anybody,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even remember who it was in the group that made for. It was Donk. Donk was there with us. It almost had to be him, I think, right?
It was him, and then we had Dane Roach. Who else was there that weekend?
It was me, you, Dane, Roach. We had Pingle with us.
Yeah. Greg was with us, and Ronnie. I think Ronnie might have been there too.
Was
right?
he?
Ronnie may have not.
We had
I
6
feel
and
like
6,
Ronnie,
didn't we?
I don't know. I think anytime Roach and I have always played together, Ronnie's always been involved, which makes everything even more fun.
Oh, dude, you ain't lying.
And then we had the 3 girls and because it's co-ed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had Carlissa,
yeah.
Your wife, and then
Who was
somebody
our
else.
third girl?
I can't remember. It might have been Mel.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it might have been Mel. So yeah.
So we're at the bar, we're doing our thing, and Donk and a few other guys get to talking to some people, and we're like, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" "Oh, we're playing softball." They're like, "You playing softball today?" We're like, "Yeah." And then we was there for a couple hours, and if anybody here has ever been anywhere with Donkey, Mike McConnell, everybody calls him Donkey. If you've been anywhere with that guy, like he will talk to anyone. So he ends up making friends with these people, and then him and Roach and all these people, and we go back to the play, and it's by this point it's dark, it's almost miserably cold outside, and you look over, and dude, there's like 10 or 12 people sitting in the stands from the bar. They were coming out there to watch us play softball. It's
guys. When he says cold, we're talking 5 degrees.
It was miserable.
It was so bad and windy, and somebody made a remark about you being the mayor of Moberly. I don't know why. I thought you were the mayor of Moberly for like 3 years. I mean, it made sense because we're coming to this place, we're destroying everybody. You put the team together, so people are like, well, people are going to hate the mayor, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. So I was like, well, we might as well do a bunch of stupid shit then.
Yeah, right.
Even better,
See, and I actually forgot about that until you mentioned it when I reached out to you here recently to do this. Like, I had actually forgotten about that of all the things I could forget.
I think it was Kevin or Roach, like years later. It was either him or Ronnie that I brought it up. They're like, he's not a mayor. I was like, somebody said he's a, because we talked about it like the whole time. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So yeah, right over my head.
Oh no, it was a good time though. I mean, we did well with it. I'll say that.
I'll tell you what, the balls I didn't break a bat, which was surprising.
Yes,
none of us did. I don't even know if any of us did really, but
you broke a leg.
I remember I did break a leg. So what's funny is that joke. You could talk about that joke, like Roach said. It wasn't like that was on purpose. And many that would probably watch this and know who I am, they probably think I did it on purpose. But it definitely wasn't. First of all, you can't get footing at the start.
Yeah, right.
Second, that's what almost started the fight, though. First to bat of the game because I think I led off.
Yeah,
either me or Dane leading off. One of us was. So yeah, we had a good start to the tournament. I guess you could say.
Yeah, they're all obviously the locals know us, but us being me and my wife. But then it's like I got all these other people, and they're always like, who's all these guys, whatever, and then it's the first pitch of the game, whack. I'm telling you, this guy pitches the ball for. We've had the conversation about you feel like you're not at the conference level of things, but let's not breeze over the fact that you can hit the ball really freaking hard. All right, so first pitch of the game, dude throws this thing in there, and dude, you absolutely laser this guy like right in the middle of his thigh, and like it was all hell was ready to break loose already. I mean, it was like
I didn't even run to first. I said sorry immediately. And he's like, no F you. And then people from the stand, it's like they had people coming out of the woods, like out of nowhere. And I didn't see anybody. And then next thing you know, there's like 20 people. And I'm like, and Dane, I got Dane's dying laughing.
Yeah.
He thinks it's so funny. That's a guy that I always love playing with because we fed off each other pretty well.
Yeah.
But, and I'm like, I just can't imagine everybody's laughing. I can't help but to laugh because I'm like, it's just something stupid. It just happened.
And the best part of the whole thing was right before that. Roach turns around and he looks at you, and he says, "Hey, Robs," he says, "How many? What do you say? Like, how many at bats before you hit a pitcher?" And then your first at bat, you smoked the dude.
Yeah, it was bad timing. 95% of people probably think it's on purpose, but looking back on it, I really don't think I did. But I mean, it is what it is. I'm not a complete. I am a super nice guy, but when it gets into a game or competitive nature, sometimes you let it get the best of you. I don't think that was one of those situations, but I don't
Sure.
think I hit middle the rest of the tournament. That's for sure. So,
I know. No, I don't think
yeah.
so. I remember being on second base at one point, and you came up to hit, and I was like, "Oh God, no."
Yeah. Yeah. No, I still, I mean, shit, you know, you talk about hitting the ball hard. Like, to this day, I still BP religiously. Like, I'll never take anything away from that. But, you know, 40 and over, dude, I'll be able to play 8 defensive positions, you know,
Oh,
but
dude, that's
conference level, not, not the same, man. Not when you're seeing these boys like be 5 school players, and you see dudes that are like 260 that can run a 4.5, 4.6.
dude, it's so
insane.
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It is. It's remarkable, honestly. They're mutants. Like,
Yeah.
You didn't even see that 15 years ago. You know, the science that people go behind, and I'm not even talking about, you know, the
Wait.
roids mixed
I was
with,
gonna
you know,
say-
Adderall.
I didn't know if you were gonna go there or not.
It plays an effect, but people know how to work out. They know how to get in shape. They
Yep.
know
Yep.
they know how to best prepare themselves, and all those things have always been done, but people just look better. They just know how to look better. They know how to play better. There's hundreds of doctors. They're taking IVs in between games, you know.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so
And it's an interesting thing, you know, to talk about like today's athlete versus 15 years ago, 30 years ago, you know, and we're not even to get into the whole Jordan versus LeBron thing, because that's a whole debacle. Everybody's got their own feelings on that. But, you know, everybody always says, you know, LeBron wouldn't survive in playing ball back then, or Jordan would get his stuff handed to him now. But, like, you got to stop and think. Like, LeBron is the prime athlete of his generation is to Jordan was. They didn't have guys walking around looking like LeBron when Michael Jordan was playing. Michael Jordan was LeBron, you know. And
those are what you call nothing fights. So the thing is,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, Dane Cook always had a joke about that. It's eras. I like to say somebody's the best of their era because each era is different. Like, you talk about the steroid era, right, in baseball. Best era of baseball ever. I don't care what anybody says. Like,
no, for sure.
I would pay a ton of money to watch dudes hitting bombs all day long than I will somebody slap bunny a ball down third because they're putting a shift on. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's not the same game. So all these folks that come in like, oh, I want the old school baseball, that I'm on the side of, dude, analytics has taken over everything. You cannot defeat technology because you have technology and you have all the analytics in the world. In fact, the way that we built our team this year, I swear to you, I had 200 plus hours of interviews. Really, really good talent that wanted to play for us. The ones that were automatic douchebags crossed right off. Didn't take them, right? The one, like, literally, it wasn't hard to tell.
Sure.
And then really from the folks that you had, you know, you take doubles and count, home runs and count, OBP, average, walks, like literally all the numbers are there. You could see where people hit well in Florida. A lot of the guys we added, they all hit well in Florida last year. I think Brandon had an off day. I'm not worried about Brandon, right?
You're right.
You're gonna have an off tournament every once in a while, but for the most part, I wanted guys that are used to playing those elements. We added, you know, to me, that's analytics, you know. So like when people do the argument of like LeBron to Jordan to any of that, to me, there's no point.
No,
There's just really
no,
no point.
I agree. I mean, it's it's a different style of play. It's a different style of athlete. I mean, it's like you take LeBron, you handpick him and put him into literally whatever sport, you know, 30 years ago, and he could be the best at every sport because he's such a good athlete. But you know, it's crazy to think that, you know, things have evolved in that way, and you could do the same thing with Jordan. You could take Jordan out and move him back 30 years. He would be the premier athlete. Can
you imagine LeBron playing football?
Dude, I mean, just, hey,
it would
listen.
It would be absurd.
Just cover your eyes and
like,
throw
put
it
him
up.
at
He'll
tight
come
end.
down with it.
Yeah. Put him at tight end. He's like you remember that tight end that played for the Broncos? That
Shannon Sharp.
had like that. Yeah. No, not Shannon. Well, everybody knows Shannon Sharp. I'm talking about the one with Peyton Manning, where he had like the 2-year stretch, the basketball player.
Oh,
that was like
yeah.
He was unreal for 2 or 3 years. LeBron could have easily done that. Easily. Yeah. So anyway, not to get off track.
No, dude, I mean, it's listen, we're here for softball, so we'll eventually get back to it. If we get to something else in the meantime, it's whatever. I don't even care. But yeah, so it's an interesting thing, you know, talking about, you know, back to slow pitch, the athlete, you know, the athletes are so good compared to, you know, 10 years ago. It's like, you know, you had the guys that were maybe a little bit of a fluffier guy, but they were getting it done. And now everywhere you look, everybody's just carved out of stone and like you said, a freak athlete. You got 270-pound guys running a 4.540, and they can play anywhere in the field.
Yeah.
It's wild to look at. Every guy's got pop.
Yeah. They do. I mean, you take someone like Bradley Jones, who's a freak, and when you see it like right in front of you, it's even more mind-boggling. But that dude can go play center field probably better than half the center fielders in conference, just because he's so athletically fit. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So going from kind of the C, a little bit of B level, into obviously the conference type of competition, what was like the biggest thing to you outside of that? We've already talked about the athleticism and stuff. What was the biggest thing that's like, whoa, this is a lot different?
Speed of the game, easily.
You're not the first person to say that, actually.
Yeah, it's night and day. Look, we had some really good Newbury teams for a few years.
Oh, yeah.
Really good. Where we had, we were, 14, 15 deep, where it didn't matter what 11 we had on the field. We were going to demolish our opponents. And if we had a bad game, we were going to come through and double dip. We were really that good.
Yeah, you were. There's no sugarcoating that. Anybody that wants to deny that must have got beat by you.
Yeah, but you take that, and what sucks about that year, we got second in every world event, like GSL World, where there was like 50 plus teams in one nation, where there was like 60, like just right there, we got second both times. And U-Trip, we didn't really have our normal depth like we were supposed to have. Like I couldn't make that trip for one. I know I don't think Travis could have. We had guys that were missing for that kind of hurt, and I think we ended up with like 9th or 11th place still. But what I'm saying is like the speed of the game. Like even that team, as solid as we were, it wouldn't have been able to compete with most of the teams that are in the conference. We would have won some upsets, kind of like what our Beaches team did this last year. You have what you had, but we also have a lot of young guys too, so they're only going to continue to grow and get better.
Sure.
Our Newbury team, it was nice. We had a plethora of veterans that have been around for a while. They came from like the Swing Kings, so they've had taste of bigger competition, and it made some of our guys play at the ability that they should be playing at, and it was a great mix. And Pops did a good job at making that all work.
Very well-oiled machine.
Very well-oiled machine, and really, a lot of us, we talk about that. We miss those days and everything else. But man, the speed of the game from that compared to what you see at that level, it's not just saying it. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's vastly different, and you have to change your mindset because of it. You have to have people that can't be afraid of a ball. You have to have pitchers that can carry you through tournaments. Defense is super key when you are a lower level team, because you can't give runs away to those higher level teams. So those 14 home runs, they now become 18 home runs when you give those runs away, and you can't play catch up at that point, because the only way you're going to catch up is by scoring to make it to the next inning. And what's the easiest way to do that? Hitting home runs. Yep. So yeah, the speed of the game, and you saw the guys grow, and really, that's one of the things that I loved about last year, was seeing the growth in everybody on that team as the season progressed. And we never really had like that I mentality, at all. And we lost some close games too. Like our record could have been better than what it was. So, for all this, you see a lot of people, they give shit to Siteman and stuff of, what they went through last year, kind of having an underwhelming year of what they did. But I don't think, you go back and look at their games, there was a lot of 1-run loss games in their column, like a lot.
They got everybody's best game every game.
Yeah. So it's one of those things to where even if they didn't play at the ability that they felt they should have, like, to me, it could have been night and day different had half those gone through. I mean, there wasn't a whole ton of difference in points between the guys that were like ahead of them or whatnot. So one of the things that I learned things from watching that too. To me, Um, I try to tell people that each one of those games, one of the lessons that we're going to have going this year is that you cannot take it with a grain of salt. Like, we decided to add more depth this year because really at the end of the day, if everything's being paid for like it is, I mean, every little thing is paid for. You really can't complain about playing time or any of that. I mean, these sponsors are doing you a service as much as you're doing them a service. It works both ways,
Sure.
and to me, I want to have that depth to where no matter what, I feel comfortable with what we're doing every game. But you got to find the right pieces that are okay with that. And I feel like that's one of the things that I learned. We did not have that depth last year, and I saw in some cases, even with a team like Siteman at times, the depth kind of hurt them at times.
Yeah.
They if they had a couple guys struggling, they didn't really have that next guy that could like jump in, and they felt like super comfortable with being in that situation. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I think Petrov would even say that was an issue at times too. So I try to take all those things and kind of learn from it. That way, we can try to do better and stuff like that. You obviously want to try to root for people that are local and everything else and go from there. So
Yeah, and it's the big thing is don't become complacent. I tell people that no matter what level you're at, like you'll see that in the guys that at the level that you're at now, you'll see that with everybody. It's not okay. I'm here. I'm done. No, now it's ready to get real. It's ready to change up what you're doing. It's ready to learn something new and then apply that. I tell some of these guys, you could afford to do something better every time you show up to hit. I don't care how long you've been playing the game. Work on something different. Try and get better. Focus on something. Don't think, okay, well, I'm good at doing this with my swing now. Now I can do something else. No, you still need to focus on that and try and make that better. Just because it got better doesn't mean it's optimal. That's not as good as it's going to be. It's the, what do you want to call it? The pursuit of perfection, you might say. Nobody will ever get
yeah.
there, but everybody wants to kill themselves trying.
Well, and you also have some people that they just don't want to listen. I mean,
Oh,
it's a respect factor too. I mean, look, it's very hard to tell a guy that is super gifted what they need to work on. It's not when I mean it's hard, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. So what do you got to do? You got to show the evidence. You got to show the stats. You got to show video. Video is key. Like I tell anybody that's coming up in this game, if there's any advice that if we're going to go down like the advice path, dude, I think you need to use technology at your fullest advantage. Like video your tee work, video
yeah.
your hitting. I mean, I use that to your ability. I mean, we still do it like before our rec league Wednesday night games. I got guys that want to learn so bad just because they love to play in that league and they want to get better in a league that might be the worst league I've ever played in, but it's awesome to see guys want to work at it that's never played the game before, and those kids have gotten so significantly better in that league, and I enjoy that. I take video and I like show them, and they're like, "Oh, I want to learn an overlap grip," and I'm like, "Oh God, I mean we're really going advanced."
That's a
Here
commitment,
now. But
yeah.
that's not like it's not the easiest thing in the world, and trust me, once you go there, you're not going to want to go back because when you cut a ball for that first time and you feel how good that feels, it is very hard to want to get away from that,
So
and there's no better feeling than cutting a ball in half. It's way better than a home run
yeah.
or anything else that you can hit. But yeah, I mean, to me, you have to have the. I don't ever want to coach a team where I have guys that don't appreciate the work that the coaches and sponsors go through. My assistant Sam, God, there's a reason why he's in the Hall of Fame out of New Mexico. The dude puts in work. He is watching hours and hours of videos of our team, putting videos together saying, hey, this is what's wrong with your footwork. Look at our defense here. Look, those balls are going to hold because they're not squeezing the gaps, little things like that. So that's why Tom Baldessi, let's use him as an example. I don't know if you know Tom Baldessi. Tom Baldessi
Uh-uh.
is he's coached conference for a long period of time, came up with Hubs Club, all that stuff. And I actually just ran into the airport with him. We've been talking off and on because I think as the season progresses, he's going to help us out here or there. And he's full of a lot of that knowledge. So just finding you got to have the players that want to learn. I'm sure you deal with it with like league people all the time that you try to help with that come to you with advice.
Oh
So
man, yeah. It's the big thing that gets me is I want to get better, and then you tell them what to do, and they'll say, but I don't like doing that. Well, no, you're not going to
Yeah.
like doing that. That's why you don't do it. You know, it's
Yeah.
you should try like my big thing. I don't know how you feel. We can touch on this for a minute because I've always been curious to know, like when it comes to bat weight. Like I personally, and everybody's got their own feeling on stuff. I personally feel like you should swing the heaviest thing you can still manage decent control of. And there's other
Yes.
people that feel like you should be able to swing like a 24-ounce bat. Like if he's
It's
hearing this,
physics, man. It's
yeah,
science.
yeah.
If you have the swing speed to swing a heavier bat, the ball will go farther. It's really all about, really at the end of the day, it's about how it feels in your hands.
Yep.
What like if you, because again, I think your ability to get better is more. You have to have the talent. It's easy to find the talent. There's so many talented people out there, but really being able to take that psychological aspect of feeling confident and understanding your abilities and what you need to work on and putting that all together, it's all one. It functions as a unit. The bat weight, go as heavy as you can with what you can control.
Yeah.
Because science proves that.
Yeah, and I personally notice a big drop going. I've had people send me. I'll never say no to a bat to review. So I'll have guys send me 25s, and it's like, man, I see it. I see myself losing 20, 30 feet of distance sometimes just because I feel like I can't drive the ball. Like I've kind of built and designed my swing to get a bat through a ball and let the physics work, but if I've got to just swing out of my ass to get this thing to get through a ball, like it kind of to me defeats the purpose. But because everybody's got their own thing with that. There's no. I'm not throwing shade at the person if he is listening to this. He lives and dies by his 25s, and he's always, I want to hit the ball harder this year. I want to hit more home runs. Well, brother, like put it down. He's like, well, I feel like my hands are slow with a 27, or I feel like this with a 27. Well, because you swing it for 4 swings and then say you don't like it and put it back down. Spend a month swinging it and see how much better you get.
And when you swing, take 15 cuts at a time. Don't develop the bad habits, because what happens is with the heavier bat, you're gonna get tired.
Sure.
But really, if you keep yourself away from the bad habits, guess what? It helps your head psychologically.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting more out of the bat that you're using. I wish more people, when they BP, that they would always try different sizes, different levels, figure out what fits you the best. But if you want to add power to your game, at the end of the day, that's going to come with inload and weight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And some guys just have the power. It doesn't matter. Like Orlando, throw a freaking broomstick in his hand. He's probably going to hit it 350. It doesn't really matter for him. But really, you watch someone like Bama, or like some of these guys that are smart that just have such a strong core.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they have a preference or what they do that allows them for that all to connect properly, and that just takes reps and all that. To me, I really lived with a 27 ounce for the longest time until my hands slowed down, and really when I go 26, I tend to. In some of these Louisvilles, you could only get like a 25.5 or 25 sometimes. So, to me, I have a more of an inload when I go down an ounce. If I go higher, I like the balance feel a little better. So that's where I'm at in my game right now. But like that Mario Foster Empire, I've been having senior guys sending me bats. JK Inc. is like one of the teams I'm going to be playing, or team will be playing with once I turn 40 and all that. The Mario Foster, that's a really heavy inload in my opinion.
Yeah, it's juicy.
Yeah. And and it's a 27 ounce. I have that green one. No, it's crazy because the only time I ever swung a senior bat is when I fooled around with like Sean Mayberry, a couple other guys in the middle of a hot summer. It was 65 degrees right out of the wrapper. The radar was 107 on the first one. That was a line drive like 3. I mean, it went out of the baseball field on a line. And I haven't swung a heavy inload, and I can't tell you how long. First of all, that's just how great a senior bat is.
Dude, they're so much fun.
Number two got me thinking again. It's like, do I need to go heavier again? Because I think it just changes for you over time, but you got to figure it out. You know. you're giving that guy right advice. Like if he's swinging a light bat and he's young and he's got the bat speed to be able to control a heavier bat, he will get more distance
Yeah,
on a heavier bat.
he's super
So,
athletic. That's what gets me about it. He's super athletic. Not necessarily like explosive wise. Like I feel like those are the outliers. You know, you were kind of talking about guys like Orlando, and honestly, you could probably lump most of the guys in the conference into this category. They're kind of the outliers of the group in terms of that guy's going to hit with anything. Now, the big thing where bat weight does make a difference is when you start making your way down in levels. You know, that's when it really matters, because you might not be the most optimal athlete. I'll say you might not be as athletic as an Orlando Oliveira or somebody like that. So you know, you need to use physics. You can't use athleticism. You got to use physics. So like you said, technology, right? The bats are so good. Use the weight. Use it. It's built this way for a reason. Use it. And it's kind of funny too. You mentioned, you know, should I, you know, go back to this, because I've been swinging a balance bat all year long. I lived and died by end loads for years. I kind of dabbled with balance stuff a couple different times, and then I reviewed the Ironman last year, and I just fell in love. Like I had I had no intentions of swinging a balance bat, and I took that. We shot that video with it, and I haven't put it down since. I've been on the balance train like full steam ahead. And I'm willing to lose distance. I can still dial up 300 feet when I need to, which is all I do. That's all I need. And it's the control for days. Now, if I'm playing somewhere where it's unlimited, yeah, I'm going to go get an end load out of the closet. And we're going to go just, you know, swing until my shoes fall off. But
yeah, you know, it's funny you mentioned that Ironman. Not to dig too deep into it, I feel like the Louisville balances, because those handles have such a nice stiffness to it, that you still get, like, you remember the Sonic from back in the day?
Sonic Plus, yeah.
So, yeah, the Sonic Plus. So, like, you know, there are one pieces that are out now. I don't know if you've gotten to swing. I think you did. I think you had did you have the bubble gum out there yet?
No, I've got some goodies.
No? Yeah. I'll send them. I got one if you need one. But literally, those one pieces, it's going to kind of give you a little bit of a sense of what those were like. Brandon and I went hitting with them. It was about a month ago. I had the bubble gum and he had the Vice.
The Vice is so much fun.
My bubble gum was way too light. His Vice was an ounce heavier and felt better than the bubble gum. They were both fine, but I mean, I don't think anything compares to those two pieces that they have. Like, it's just I just felt way better with the two pieces from Louisville than I did that, because I feel like the feedback that I get from the one piece doesn't satisfy me as much as the feedback from the two piece, even though the ball comes off just as hard.
Yeah,
that's what I'm telling you. But if your brain feels better about it, go with the thing that feels better for you. You know, if it's going to come off the same way, do whatever helps your confidence. So that's
we're talking feedback here, kids. Just so we're not talking weight, we're talking feedback.
feedback. I'm telling you, if you feel better coming out of a BP session with you might have the same performance, but go with what feels the best for you. Like, at the end of the day, I think that's the key. I mean, because unless you're trying to develop a certain skill set, to me, whatever makes you confident at that play is what's going to be able to give you a better average,
100%.
Better hitting. It's why I've never really wanted to tie down, like, any team I run to a bad deal. I was going to ask you about that. We were offered by 3 different companies, literally. Okay. One of them, I know people would not want to swing at all. The other 2 were very I also probably could have got something done with Louisville by talking to Matt Brady, stuff like that, because we represent a lot of the values that he appreciates, and Matt and I are pretty close friends. And he would have found a way to, you know, cut us a deal and everything else, just because, you know, to me, I would have said, hey, all the guys love to swing this. They're going to represent you well, but we have a couple guys on our team that don't like to swing it, and to me, like, I want them to be as comfortable in the box as they can. 100%. Like, I don't want people learning. I don't know why so many teams go that route. It's I get that you get some free equipment, but if you're getting every little thing paid for and all that, to me, like, let your guys go in the box with, like, whatever they want to hit. Like, sure. like I don't care about having a name across my chest, and they're all great bat companies. Like Mooch, what he's doing with Pure is awesome. Like, the Louisville stuff is great. Leaf going to Monza, that's a game
That's
changer
huge. That's
right
gonna be
there.
huge for them.
I mean, Leaf, which by the way was really hoping we thought, Leaf might come on with us at some point this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he probably won't. I'm just throwing that plug out there. But Leaf and I talk a lot. But if Leaf was ever going to come out of retirement, he would play with us. So
Would you have him hit right or
I don't.
left-handed?
Right. Yeah. Right.
Right. It still kills me
Yeah.
that he can hit both ways. He can just kill the ball, swinging right and left-handed. It's so crazy to me.
He is the best leader I know. Like if we want to, not to get down, I always like to talk about like favorites, all that kind of stuff. Of any leader I have ever seen on the field that could change a complex of a team and everything, he's the best that I've seen. I play with him yearly at the Howl. He shows up to that complex, it brings in hundreds of more people to that tournament. And that tournament, by the way, best off-season tournament there is the Howl.
Okay.
It's so much fun. It's in middle of nowhere in Clovis, New Mexico. A lot of people will say the whole enchilada or Corky's, things like that. Corky, like when we won Corky's, that was amazing. But dude, that Howl tournament, it's such a cool environment. You got, hundreds and hundreds of people watching, and they have 160 plus teams in it across all the divisions. The Open plays all on Saturday. We won it this year, won it the year before last year. This year was against like Irvine, Honeycutt, and all those guys that we beat in the championship this year. But Leaf couldn't come this year. It was the first year he couldn't come, and I told Sam, like my sister, I was like, I noticed the difference. Like it was very different without Leaf there. It was a leadership standpoint as well as the park, man. Like they get even more people when he's there. It's the craziest shit, man. He draws so much attention because of how great of a soul he has. He breathes like, it's hard to find those kind of people, and he is that. And,
so real quick, Blake wants to know. He's sitting here in the chat. He wants to know, how many outs did you make at the Howl?
I led the team actually. Blake and I led the team actually. We each made one.
Oh, dang!
We both hit over 900, and we had a damn good team too. And the year before, I only made one out as well.
Golly!
Hit over 900, and we had Tommy Melton. We had all those guys the year before, and I pride myself on that. I don't know what it is about the Howl, but I destroyed at the Howl.
So that's your one tournament you show out for every year.
Maybe I'm just, I'm not as. Sometimes when you take a little bit of time off, and that's in October, at the end of the month.
Yeah.
It's sometimes good for you. You go out and take a couple of BP sessions, you're not as sore. And I think it might just be one of those things. I know myself pretty well. I'm just comfortable there. It's a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
And you really have nothing to lose in those kind of tournaments. And really we always have it set up where we have typically 14 to 15 people to start, and then Sam's like, "Hey, you're gonna have to start. You're gonna have to." And I'm like, "What?"
Surprise!
Yeah, I was like, "You have no choice but to play me. I'm not gonna sit a 900 hitter,
Yeah.
But I go out there mostly just to be around my military brothers, and we brought the Perkins out there, and so even with Leaf not there and having the Perkins there, and Blake and Brandon and all that. Nick always makes everything way more fun. I don't know how often you've ever been around Nick Perkins, but
a handful of times. Yeah, he's a goofball.
Oh, he is a absolute goofball. He's also a wuss sometimes because he won't get in front of a ball against KP. We're working on that because that shit happens this year. He's going to get pulled right out of the game.
So man.
Yeah. Well, in his defense, two of the balls that went by him, it probably would have made me crap my pants. But because KP hit a ground ball that was routine, he says it wasn't routine, but it was 75 miles per hour instead of 100 miles per hour. And I'm like, in your head, you're saying it's not routine because you're thinking it's being pissed at you when you should have fielded it in flying colors. So I've been giving him shit about that all off season because I think it's funny. And, you got to give your guy shit.
You got to keep him honest.
By the way, Nick, that's a guy. If he really continues and – puts a lot of effort into it. The thing that's great about Nick Nick does all the things in life that you're supposed to do. He's about to get married. He's available, all that stuff. So he's juggling all that, trying to make it all work. And really coming into this year, like I have high expectations on him because from Nashville on, he hit 770.
Wow.
From when after Texas Legends,
How does this keep happening? Are you seeing these fireworks on your screen?
It might be because I'm shaking my thing, and it's the Apple, and it probably puts a.
I didn't know if it was me or you. I was like, what is happening?
Maybe I shake.
I don't know. Either way, I just thought it was funny. You looked really dreamy while you were telling a story with fireworks going off behind you.
Yeah, it's like making it through. So so anyway, from Nashville on, there was some video there where I think all he had to do was just adjust him off the plate by about a foot. And I'm telling you, when that dude missed, it was a line drive right to somebody. Like on a rate that was unbelievable. He went to our leadoff spot, the last 4 or 5 tournaments, and he was our best power.
So he has absolutely incredible power. I mean, I've seen that. I've played with him a couple of times, and I've been at the ballpark while he's playing a few times too. I mean, his power is just absolutely incredible, and like it's like smooth power.
But he now can control it. He can control it now. He's learned how to just cut it, just take a little bit off, where he cuts like that middle, that left center gap swing. He's really developed it really well, and a lot of people don't understand. He's actually got a really good right center swing, but he didn't have to use it that often this year. Actually, him and Zach both, man, they came a long way. Zach had a 690 OBP on the year, and from the year prior, I mean, Zach started to learn how to hit the 5-6 hole, was working on it every single week, because everybody, when they think of Zach, they think middle backside. But, dude, what was happening was they were getting that hole, he would just hit a hard ground ball right through it. He would take some off, and these guys just became smarter players. And I'm not, like, trying to advocate my guys or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, it's kind of cool to see people put in the work and you see the results, and really having like big names that want to come play for you, like Joel Sanchez. Like he played with us in the How. I mean, we were really, really close to getting a combo, with him and a couple others. He had some goals and aspirations that they really wanted to, kind of finish and all that, but we had a legit shot to get. We were the final 2 team between us and Sports Reach. That's just an example of like talent that was coming out, and it really hasn't stopped. Like I literally had 2 voicemails today from people I won't name that are pretty high end, and I basically had to say, hey, our roster's solidified. But yeah, my goal was, you find guys that kind of fit what you have, that are fun people, that provide all that talent. That way, when you're done playing, you're with them for the weekend, man. I mean, I don't want to be like a team where you have cliques and they separate and they go different places and all that stuff. We really enjoy the camaraderie. I want something to where if my kids want to come around it, they can come around it.
So my son's just to that age now. He'll be 15 this summer, and he's just to the age where he wants to hang out with the boys. He's talking the crap, and dude, the big fun thing we've been doing this last year or so, dude. I tell you what, keep a deck of Uno cards in your bag and just watch the shitstorm ensue. I mean, just really? the trash talking and the hooting and the hollering and carrying on. So we're playing this tournament, and it's kind of up in BFE here, and this guy's girlfriend goes to the truck, and she comes back down the hill, and she's like, you guys need to quiet down. I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, I could hear you guys yelling at each other from the parking lot. I mean, it gets a little out of hand, but it's so
a game you should do. Have you ever played the dollar game?
All
right, so this is going to make you want to get a lot of dollars. So Trav Harrell, one of my good friends from the military side of ball, we always do this at the military tournament, specifically at the Band-Aid, which is a really, really fun military event. It's a duel that they host in Colorado Springs. You'll watch games. You'll get in a line. Doesn't matter whether you have 3 people, 5, 8, 10, and each of you have $1 that you bet. You say on or off. All right, and the person that says on or off, if he says on and the person gets on, everybody has to pay him $1. If he says off, if he says on and the first person, then it goes to the next person, it's the next person's shirt. You could say on bomb for $2 bet. You could say on air for $2 bet. That gets a little weird because you guys determine some things.
Yeah.
You could say on walk for a $2 bet before the at-bat starts, and this is all before the at-bat starts. And dude, there's guys that have walked out of that park with a few $100s in hand, or
all $1 bills, right?
And by the way, you're watching these people play. You're shit talking. There's been people that have turned around screaming, saying, "You're throwing my game off. Stop that shit!" Like getting mad that you're playing on and off, and you're drinking more,
yeah,
and you're just going to town. You're talking, and when the batter does good, you're talking shit to him.
Yeah.
When he does bad, you're talking shit. It's so much fun, and I don't see it happening anywhere outside of a military event. I haven't witnessed it one time.
So Ronnie, I know, like, was it Ronnie and Roach and dude, who knows, out of all that group, they used to play hit or no hit. I remember they used to play, you get real excited about hit or no hit.
Same concept.
Oh my God, dude. Ronnie, Ronnie gets excited when the wind blows. So, he...
oh, dude. Yeah, Ronnie. That group's a really good group too, man. They're a good group of dudes.
Yeah, so when
I miss playing. I haven't seen, man, it's been you know what? I may have seen them in Kansas City last year. I think I saw them at the beginning of the year when we played in the John King's event, because I think they were playing the 40. But yeah, I had it. Right before the conference stuff started, we were all getting together for money tournaments and stuff like that. But yeah, to get back on the subject, any other questions? Like I'm open all night, so whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, so let's we'll go over these questions here. 5:30 comes early for me, so let's go over these questions we had on Facebook. Ross, Ross has always got to bring something, muscles or physical into it somewhere. He wants to know who's got the bigger arms, you or Orlando.
Yeah, that one. Orlando, pictures don't do justice. The pythons are off the charts. My girlfriend, it's funny, met him at the airport at one of our conferences.
Hang on, you're breaking up a little bit. Hang on. Stop talking for a sec. Let it come back and finish your story so we don't get part of it.
I said one day. So when we came into the airport, he's sitting there, right? And I know Orlando. We went to the conference and all that. And dude, I didn't even realize how big he is, because when you're in a baseball uniform compared to like just being in shorts and a shirt. And so I sat next to him and I'm like, Jesus, he's so big that it makes my fat look small. Like his muscle makes my fat look small, And I'm like, dude, so how many eggs did you eat today? And he's like, oh, no, never mind. so I'll make like little jabs, like that. But he's real good, dude. Orlando's awesome. I'm glad he's with us this year. So yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
So I've got the pleasure of watching him play once. He was fresh out of baseball, and he was there with Ross playing one of those overnighters at BMAC, and like such a humble dude. He's quiet. He keeps to himself. Like it was pretty cool to like. You get some of those guys that come out of baseball and like they're bigger than the game. It's like, screw you guys. I play baseball. I'm just here to goof off. But like, he's quiet and he plays his ass off. He was honestly, I think he just had too many games in the outfield on top of being awake all day. He was wore down. Like he was starting to get the shakes or whatever. And it's like they had to like drag him off the field. Like, dude, stop. Just come in and sit down for a little bit. Like the guy's just got the dog in him, And
he's really come a long way. So I think this will be his, I want to say it's his 4th year in conference. It might be 5th. I guess technically it did be in the counter the year before he went to the major. MPC.
Yeah, he went straight to major. Yeah,
and I mean, just a night and day difference. The first time I ever played with him was with a local team called Dirty Birds. It was guys that be put together, and he was out there a lot for that. And he was playing infield, And I was like, this dude's an outfielder. Like you could just tell that's where his game's at and all that stuff. But he was killing it then, and it wasn't as automatic. And to me, like just watching his progression even this year, like I kind of felt bad for him at times because he was in spots where you had to really try to keep the ball in, and
as hard as he hits the ball.
Yeah, he would hit a line drive and it would go a mile, and you could tell he was trying because he'd hit a ball up the middle and it would just be right out of the park. And so those are things like when we talked and he came on board, he already knows what he needs. He's a professional. He knows what he needs to work on. Like that's what I love about him is that he still has that humble pie in him. The game's not too big for him.
Right.
So.
Yeah, he's a guy with some absolutely incredible power too. Watching the conference championship before the World Series even, and I'm pretty sure he hit a ball with conference championship. You're not using a stadium ball at that point. You're still using like what's arguably the hardcore thing. It's a whole different can of worms. But he hit a ball in the conference championships. I didn't see a stadium ball go that far the next weekend.
I'm telling you right now, and I'm not being over the top here. I would, from a distance standpoint, he's in the top. I think he's in the top 5 in all conference from a distance standpoint.
It's incredible.
There's a lot of guys that are hitting for a ton of power, but the distance that he gets on his balls is absurd.
Yeah.
And the few guys that are on resi, like the KPs or Bradleys, they're hitting the ball really, really far. Phil will get in them like that every once in a while. Phil's got more of a cut home run swing that'll go, 400 feet on the line or whatnot. Orlando's, dude, it goes in the stratosphere. He gets near that KP and Jones area to where he can compete with those guys from a distance standpoint.
Yeah.
And that's just how there's not many guys that hit it farther than him.
No, DW's got a couple of clips on his channel, where I see him hit, and I'm seriously betting this ball, and I'm not exaggerating when I say probably went 450 feet before it started coming down.
Oh,
before it started, it was still going up at 450 feet.
About.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
was it Texas? Is that right?
It was Texas. Yeah, and then he hit one. Dude, he's hit a couple missiles. So against us, the first game we played JBL, which was in Nashville. Well, technically not Nashville. They moved it right before the tournament started. That was a shit show. So we had to drive like an hour each way to go play because we couldn't get our Airbnb. Whatever.
Oh,
anyway,
that's brutal.
Orlando went 4 for 4 or 4 for 5 against us with 4 straight at bats with just lasers that were almost hitting the highway on a line. He was locked in, man. Just absolutely locked in. And we were actually down 22-1, and we came back and lost by 3 or 4. It was like 38-34 or something like that. But we got him back to the conference championships. We run-rolled him there. So, but he's unbelievable. That one kind of fell into our lap a little bit. We had, in fact, I had several guys that I was interviewing. And I reached out to him out of nowhere. I just said, "Hey, how's everything going, man? We haven't caught up in a little bit. Like, everything's still going well with JBL, and some things kind of like fell apart there. And we got on a call right away. We worked it out, that day basically.
Nice.
He saw the talent we added, saw the fit, understands what he could provide to us, and I think he's going to bring some leadership on the team too that'll go a long way. And really, it's my job to put him in those spots to where he could just eat. There should be no reason why he should have an OBP under 720 this year. And I mean a legit OBP under that. He should be above that based on where he'll be hitting for us and what he'll be able to do at the plate.
Yeah, so, and I feel like you could put him, when you're talking about a guy that you just let him eat, you could almost put like a guy like Harvey kind of in that same category. There's times where it's either it's in the comments or you're watching the softball in a collective area. You see Harvey hitting. It's like, oh well, why'd he just hit a slow right there? Or, that was a 2-run home run, that was a bad home run. No, it's his job is to hit the ball hard. Like he's put in the position to do it in that part of the lineup. He's just go hard. Orlando's in that same category of Pop and just go out there and do it.
to me, I tell people all the time, I watched a lot of Ryan Harvey last couple of years, and I think Ryan Harvey would be top 3 in OBP and average every year if he just got to swing away.
Yeah.
He's such a team guy, dude. People don't understand how team he is. He literally half his hits he'll go backside with. Like if he's only got one runner on,
His control's actually pretty good when he wants to
he's
exercise
got
it.
great control. He has got great control,
Yep.
like great control, and it's kind of unfair. It really is because I mean, you're that good of a team guy that you don't give a shit about. I really believe he does not care about what his stats are because he knows that he is great no matter what, and he's going to do the right thing at the plate. You know, that's a lot of pressure to have. And really, I appreciate when I watch him play compared to some of the other superstars that are there that you can tell just regardless they're going to swing away.
This is my show.
Yeah, basically it.
So Zach Perkins wants to know, says how hard is it to manage so many egos? He says.
Oh, geez. So the good thing about us, we have. I don't even know. He's probably trying to be a dick just to be funny.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No, exact. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't really. So everybody's got an ego, right? Everybody's got an ego. It's how you control that ego. Like I like guys that like to have fun with it, have a cockiness to where they make it funny. Where because at the end of the day, I want you to have the confidence and have an ego to a degree. And part of the reason of the reason why we got the guys that we have is all that you want to know who under the radar is the most cocky guy on our team that people would never guess is Davey Yoder. Davey Yoder, you would not hear it from him, but he will say something out of nowhere that will get everybody dying laughing.
He's the one-liner guy.
Just something that's just where it's so off the radar where I'm just like, I cannot believe he just said that, And so we got a lot of guys that have fun with it. That was part of the reason why I bring in Jake Hathaway. Jake Hathaway, I think he's kind of like a lot of people. They may look at him as being like very very loud or intense, because I've seen that being on the other side when we played against him and everything. It was never really, in my opinion, towards his own teammates. It was towards himself and really at the part of our interviews that we had. He understands like, oh man, I can harness that energy in a really, really good way. And to me, dude, he fits our team perfect because the dude hits the shit out of the ball. He hit 755 last year. Hits the crap out of it, and it could play any of the infield positions. But he is a firecracker, and that's another guy that you bring in. Like people can use the word egos or whatnot, but dude, if you can't admit that you have some sort of ego, then I think you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. I think you have to have one.
You're in denial. I mean, if you say you don't have one, you're in denial. Everybody's got one.
Yeah, you got to use it as a positive advantage, And if it gets out of shape, then it's the coach's job to harness you back in, and say, hey, look, like, it gets the best of you sometimes. Mm-hmm. Don't use it that way. Don't cast aside somebody. I see that a lot where somebody will go off and people kind of want to judge instead of just understanding what's going on in somebody's head.
Sure.
So
yeah, that's a big thing. Like, you can have your ego, but you can still, like you said, you can have fun with it too. Like one of my favorite things to do, and if you're not in our dugout and you haven't like played with me, you probably don't know or understand. Like if I make a dumb out, I'll walk back to the dugout with my bat in my hand, just throw it in the trash can, and just keep walking. Like it's just.
We had a guy on our team on Newbury named Swice. I don't know if you remember him. He's a 2-hole lefty hitter for us. He played right field, and
oh yeah.
This dude. Okay, first of all, he would always foul the ball off and then cuss himself. He would cuss himself out, and it was the funniest thing. Call himself every like homosexual slur he could think of to himself. And we would be crying, laughing, and he'd look at the face like, "You dumbass!" Blah, blah, blah. And he'd get back in, and he'd hit his seed right up the damn middle, or down the line, or a freaking line drive bomb.
Yeah, he'd try the line. He'd try the line with the first swing, and then turn around and then hit the line again. I mean, I hate pitching that guy.
So I would look at my team. I would cry, laughing. I would look at my teammates. I'm like, First of all, why does he keep fouling the ball off if he's just going to cuss himself out every time? But second of all, I don't want him to stop because it's the funniest thing ever,
Yeah.
and it gets our team going. It got our team going like every single time.
Yeah.
But what's funny is he's not doing that on purpose. Dude's nuts. Like he's under the radar nuts, and I appreciated that. And that's actually one of my travel buddies that I kind of him, Springman, and myself like that last year in Newbury. We traveled a lot together, and I love Swise because he was so easy to make laugh, but he was also the funniest dude because of that stuff. So
just loose cannon.
Yeah, he's actually playing with Gator again. They're all getting together. I don't know if you saw the flyer that Blake put out. It's got it's got a few of the guys that played with Newbury a couple years ago, and then they're going to be playing some like CU trip, and it's got some guys that used to be like play ball like 10 years ago. So it's got some vets from
nice.
there.
Okay.
And do you know the bullpen team out of like the Red Bud area? Out that way.
Know the name.
They always played in the Red Bud tournaments, but there's a couple of those guys that are playing on the team too. Okay. So that'll be a fun group to watch locally. Are you still with the Sonic Boys or no?
No, just kind of at a distance, we'll say.
Yeah.
Just kind of letting them do the social media stuff and that kind of thing. I don't know. We'll see what unfolds this year.
You're still involved,
Yeah. So there's possibility of I'm gonna try and get back into the I kind of took a couple of seasons off from like playing like sanctioned tournament ball. I kind of want to get back into it. I think it'd be good for the channel to kind of get in the Kansas City area. I don't know how much obviously you came to Kansas City a handful of times. Kansas City's kind of turning into a mecca of softball. I mean, there's something there every weekend. There's lots of teams showing up. I feel like it would be good from an exposure standpoint and a growth standpoint to kind of get somewhere like that. So that's kind of what I'm moving towards for the year. So we'll see what unfolds with all that. But whether it be D or C or whatever else, we'll kind of see where it goes. But that's the plan for the year anyway. But back to the questions here. I just want to get a couple more in here I'm going to let you go. It's getting late out there, and I don't know what time you got to be up, but I feel like I've had plenty of your time already. Very grateful for it. And Nick Perkins wants to know what type of buggy what type of buggy is your favorite to ride or drive in?
That dude is in love with buggies. Okay, like we played in a tournament in Arthur, Illinois. Like let me tell you something. You got to do that one day. All right.
Okay.
So we got on a buggy ride like the whole time while we were there. And
did I see pictures of this on Facebook? Is that right?
Yeah, we got Twisted Tees, and you took a picture of the horse and Twisted Tea. And
I saw that looking for some pictures to post today.
So we were riding on those buggies, and Nate Jess has this brother. Nate couldn't play with us that weekend, but his brother did. And dude, I'll never forget. This is so funny. So Dane actually came and played with us in that tournament too.
Okay.
And, I walked up and I had a jersey for Nate's brother and everything else, and I'm like, hey bud, what size do you wear? And he's like, I don't know, like size 9. And I'm like, what do you mean a size 9? Like, he's like, oh, I'm in the playing community. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell that means. And it was like playing community, and you got scooters laughing, and the other Amish guys are laughing.
Yeah.
And I was like, playing community. He's like, I can't wear any of that jersey. I have to wear these dress pants and this white shirt, or the bishop's going to come after me. And I'm like,
oh boy.
Oh, okay. So you're going to play center field in that? And he's like, yeah. I was like, so were you asking me if I had size 9 shoes? He's like, well, I thought that's what you meant. And I'm like, why the hell would I carry like random cleats with me? Like all over the place. He's like, no worries. I always play in my loafers anyway. So this dude is playing center field for us in his loafers.
No way.
His dress slacks and his pants. And he's riding around in the buggy. Nate's younger brother. He gets my phone number, dude. Him and I hit it off great. Everybody did. Like, Nate is all quiet, but his brother is a freaking riot. Like, it's like two different completely people. You got Nate Jess, who's on, like, he says every day of his life he's on 75 hard. I bet you Nate's on 292 day hard now at this point. He just doesn't stop. He's 75 hard all the time.
Yeah.
And you got his little brother, which I didn't even know Nate had a younger brother, because Nate's already young as it is, who is just, you can tell he's a party animal riot. He's still in the community, and he's telling us these stories, and we exchange numbers, and then I would get random calls from him all the time in voicemails being like, "Hey, I just brought some cabinets down. I thought that we could say hi on my way in." And I'm like, "Who the hell is this guy?" I couldn't tell who it was, and then I forgot that I gave him my number, so he was calling me all the time.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
dude, that tournament in Arthur, those buggy rides, that was so much fun. You know, the horse was stopping and taking a shit. Nick thought it was the coolest thing ever. Nick just thinks everything's fascinating. We're talking about a dude that the entire time that we were in Florida sat in the damn pool waiting for the rockets to launch the entire time, like a little child. So we'd be like, "Nick, the rocket, you turn around."
Oh, you got come on.
All day, every day, he just wanted to watch the damn rockets. He was like, it's like dealing. Nick is an under the radar kid at heart, and
He's the team child.
Oh, he is the team child, and dude, he's 6'5", 6'4", 6'5", and he's a team child. So, but dude, I love that dude. Good dude, but but favorite buggy. They make one type of buggy, bud. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, that's why I was kind of like, obviously, what I know about the sponsors, that kind of thing. So I'm like, I didn't know there was different styles of buggies. Like, what is he?
Well, I mean, they have some out there, but dude, when the night games came on, when we played the night game, you had 1,000 people out there, and the whole community came out.
Wow,
so cool. And dude, that little E team, D team, they were not scared of us at all, and they had a floating rubber as a pitcher. I had to pitch for the weekend.
Oh,
Steve wasn't in town. And the floating rubber, they didn't have a rule about it. I could be 4 foot from the batter, or I could be 20 feet back. And their pitcher was like throwing from like six feet away the entire time with no mask. Like sometimes not wearing a mask, sometimes wearing one. It was crazy, man. Just absolutely crazy. And they actually hung with us a little bit. It was really cool because when we won the money, we gave them to them because they don't have sponsorship. They're a new Amish team that's learning and all that, and they thought it was the coolest thing ever. So yeah, Arthur, Illinois. I'll send you flyers throughout the season. That way, you guys got to make a trip out there.
Yeah,
it's
that'd be
well
cool.
worth it. Yeah.
So last thing here, it looks like it'd be a story here. Luke Johnson wants to know about the Revolution's cash tournament in Troy when the lights went out and you had to double dip. And how they determined the payout was funny. Give us that story, and then we're going to wrap this thing up.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make this as quick as possible.
Oh, dude, no, I'm not in a rush for time. We need the full story here. Don't short me.
Okay, so Troy, Illinois used to be like kind of like the softball heaven. There was only 2 fields there. I don't know if you ever played there. They had like a bar. It was a great atmosphere. League nights were awesome there, and they'd almost always have some sort of money tournament on Saturdays until they sold it to a church. Oh. And so it sucks that they no longer like have that, because as shitty as the fields were, it was one of the best environments to play in. So we're playing in a money tournament that had predominantly BSC teams in it, you know, and we had a group of us from Marathon. There's some Illinois teams, so we mixed like Marathon, the Dogs. Just a group of like buddies that played together from different teams, and we were all pretty solid ball players. And we lost earlier in that tournament. We came back to face Revolution in the championship game, and we started off that game with like 7 middle shots. I'm talking,
boy.
Bam, 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 bam. We put up like 18 runs in the first inning. They tried blowing up middle. We shut them down like 1, 2, 3. We come back in again. Bam, 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 middle, because it was just nothing but crap talking. And I'm not talking like simple middle shots. I am talking like every ball was an absolute seed. We were on fire. Well, the lights went off out of nowhere. The power like shut down. They had to call the electric company out there and all that. And we were about ready to start the second game, and they were trying to say, well, we need a split and all this kind of stuff. Well, they couldn't determine the money or anything. Well, the person that ran the tournament, which was basically them, was like, there ain't no way you guys are going to split that damn money. They're going to beat the crap out of you the next game, blah, blah, blah. So it basically got kind of determined that we were getting the first place money regardless, you know. And I've never seen that happen before, you know. So it's kind of –
it is interesting.
Just one of those things where you had to be there and just see it. And see like the oohs, the ahs, and the crowd just like looking for basically somebody to get hurt, you know. And
it's like watching a NASCAR race, but on a softball field.
Yeah, dude, that place was awesome. Every year we used to have what they called the Chad, where they had the Bridgman tournament. It was for a friend where, you know, they had a brother that died in an accident, and all that money went to proceeds went to the kids,
Oh,
and it
nice.
was unlimited home runs. And so like Jeremy Stone would bring out a lot of the conference guys, you know, after that, like conference guys, you know, like Bizat, all those guys that
Uh-huh.
we're talking like 10 years ago when Evan Godmeyer was playing a lot and some of those folks. And the team that myself and another guy would always put together, there would usually be like the final two teams that'd be in that, and the games would be like 70 something to 60 something because every home run was $1 and it was unlimited, and it's a 300-foot field there. When I mean 300, it was like a small 300. But that was a great complex play, and I don't think you ever got a chance to because by the time it shut down, you probably it's hard to venture out to Illinois from where you're at.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's a haul.
yeah, but anyway, yeah. I mean, yeah. Before we go, I kind of want to say, you know, thank you for having me on and everything. You know, I never really thought about coming on and speaking on your podcast. To me, I think it's always good to kind of get the word out, like let people know what's going on in the softball
Yeah,
community,
for
get
sure.
different perspectives from everybody. You know, anytime you want to have me on, that'd be cool. Shout out to our sponsors, Glenn and Karen Beachy. They're awesome people, amazing, super giving. Same with Davey and Marcus Yoder, who I-57 is growing tremendously. And so those are our two main sponsors. And then we got a third sponsor in TJ Foods from Squared Away. That apparel company is they're going through the roof right now. And TJ's a military vet, guy I've known for a long time. And you know, I told him, I said, hey, I want to add your name into our conference team this year. Get your name out there. And he was like, Brett, so grateful. And he's given us a killer deal on like all of our uniforms and everything else. And so Roy, I just got word today that Royce Geo, the company I work with, they're gonna throw in some money too. So that would probably be like kind of a surplus if we ever need it or whatnot.
Oh,
But
nice.
we have so many folks that have been reaching out and they've been cheering for us that are wanting us to do great things. You know, one thing that I'll say to anybody that is listening or will listen is you know, like to me when it comes to like anything local, like always be supportive. We have the Challenge Cup teams that are playing tomorrow. Illinois D did a really good job. I'm not sure how did Missouri do. I didn't get to check on them.
As far as D
Did
goes,
yeah.
D, I think they were 14th or 16th place, something like that. So they had a
Okay.
good showing.
Yeah, that's not bad. The Illinois, not to like top that, but the Illinois team got third in it. The B team plays tomorrow. There's a couple guys from BG's on that. You got Cody Calvert, you got Tanner Hudson, Blake's not going there now. Davey Yoder's out there. Zach. They brought two Missouri guys, so they're allowed to do that. So Zach Perkins and Maha are playing with
Oh,
them.
okay.
Um, and uh, and Scott did a great job, you know, putting that all together. Wish I
Scott
could be out
Patterson
there.
running that again.
Yeah. Scott's running it with Pops and Tanner Miles coaching the team. So I'll be tuning in, watching those guys tomorrow while I'm out here. Wish I could be out there cheering them on, but like I actually think they're gonna make a pretty good run. They got a really talented team, and looking at the rosters across the board, like it wouldn't shock me at all if they finish high. Last year, the team that went finished, they were on pace to finish at a good rate. Things didn't quite work out in bracket play, but they beat. I think they beat a team in the round robin that I think it was Ohio who essentially won it, if memory serves me right. But I think they're going to do good things. So if you get a chance to tune in tomorrow, watch those guys and take a look at them, and also shout out to some of our other guys from our team that are playing on the major ones. You got Dante Broom on California's major team playing center field there. You got Steve pitching for New Mexico. The rest of our guys, we didn't have a major team out of Illinois or St. Louis. So Brandon, Mitch, some of those guys, they obviously can't play.
Sure.
And then yeah, but other than that, dude, I'm looking forward to the season. I'll keep in touch with you, let you know what's going on, and really, if you need anything from me, you want to get together, review, do any of those things. I carry a lot of Louisville, which seems to be what you have anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But I wouldn't mind doing some monster reviews of the new tech that comes out here soon with the ASA
Leaf's
stuff.
been touting that up. He's been touting up the new tech he's got coming. He says he's got some good stuff coming. My goal would be to maybe have him not necessarily like unveil it, but when it comes out, I'd like to have him back on the podcast. I don't know if you had a chance to catch up with his podcast. I did with him.
Yeah, I
because
watched
we,
all of it.
man, yeah, say we did some blabbing,
Yeah.
but
you went on into like bowling.
oh,
And, yeah. I was like Jesus Christ, they're
Yeah.
way off on the tangent here.
yeah, that's what Russ said. Russ said, he goes, you got to keep him on track. I said, that's a bad thing because I'm hard to keep on track too.
Yeah, and hey, you give that guy a burrito, and he'll talk about how great that burrito is. You know, that dude could sell anything.
Oh,
Dude,
for sure.
I'll tell you what, if you're any company that's going under, like even a fast food place, get him on a commercial. Dude, they will. Dude, next day they'll have hundreds of people. I'm telling you, that guy attracts everything.
So
I mean, we all wish we could be Leaf. All right. Let's not sugarcoat it. So,
So it's so crazy because like we've been familiar with each other in the social media world and that kind of thing for a long time, but that's the first time I've actually got a chance to like sit down and like kind of like communicate and interact with him. Like, in obviously seeing it from just like the social media side of things, I knew like he's an extremely contagious personality. But then interacting with him in that podcast, dude, I got to sit there and talk just like we did here. I usually shoot for an hour on the podcast, and we're what are we? An hour and 45 in. So I did the same thing
holy
here.
crap! Yeah.
So
I didn't even look at the time. To be honest with you.
Yeah, it's what I'm saying. It's just like you get to talking, and next thing you know, it's 2 hours have gone by. But it's a blast. He's such a contagious personality that like you get sucked in. You know, it's like if he was selling tacos out of a taco truck that, like you said, was going to go bankrupt tomorrow. Hell, Leaf, give me 10. I'm only going to eat 5, but you know, I'll help the cause.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. And Carl is going to see it, and it's not like, I mean, Monster was already on that launch pad already, and ASA they've gone. I mean, they're the best in the market. And you know, you see these other companies starting to catch up a little bit, but I mean, no one's going to put a Monster down from the ASI side of the ball. And from talking to Leaf on the phone, he had said, dude, the stuff that he saw at that facility, it's game changing, like things he's never seen before. You know, to me, I'm excited to see what comes out with. I will definitely support those guys moving forward in some sort of capacity just because he's involved. That's just what he does.
Yeah, and just, you know, if anybody's been a follower of the channel for any amount of time, obviously within the last couple of years, we've kind of changed that a little bit, but we used to be very big, like no Monster around here at all. And it was never like to do with the product, you know, and we don't have to get into that now, but I've always said it. Carl is an incredible engineer. I mean, he can come up with some wild stuff, you know, and he continues to, it's like when you think something can't get better, out comes some more stuff. And he's always got another trick up his sleeve, and he'll tell you when he releases something, wait till you swing the next one. And like, there's people that say that stuff and it's kind of like, yeah, okay, bud. But when he says something like that, you better believe it, you know?
Dude, the roommate coming out about them is, I actually never asked Leaf this, but like the latest rumor I heard was if a bat fails, they're able to make it pass again. Like that same bat. That's a rumor that I'm hearing, that they have. I heard a rumor that they have a technology that could do that. Whether it's true or it's not, I'd be like, that would be freaking nuts.
Would you get your tire pump and like air it back up or what?
Yeah. You know, the Shaq shoes. You know, you get down. Yeah.
Did you puff the tongue up? Oh, bro, let's go.
I'm waiting for. I mean, I like what Louisville has done. Like, if we talk about bat technology, this will be the last thing I say.
Yeah.
What Louisville has done, and I get that you get the paint seams and all that, and you got to break things in a certain way and everything else. But the one thing that I do like about theirs is that their shit will literally break before it gets to 240. Every time, like you're never gonna send it in. They could sell the fact that they will always pass compression until they break. You know,
sure.
I think like the only thing that just stinks about that is that you gotta. I have an APG that's got 2,000 swings on it. Like that thing passes at 260, and how it's not broke.
Yeah,
is beyond me, especially with a lot of people that I know where they've had the seams and all that. But I also threw a ball up, hit it soft for 200 swings, hit it off the tee in my garage on 52s. First 500 were 52.
There's something to it, though. There's something to it. Does your bat have any seams?
That bat has no seams.
Yeah.
And the only time I've ever had the seam issue is when I don't do that.
Yep.
And so to me, I don't think anybody's lying about that. And a lot of people that say they do it the right way, and it seems, part of me is like, I don't think you're actually doing it the right way. Not to
No.
like call you out, but I don't think you realize how many swings 200 swings is. Like,
Right.
it's a lot of swings.
Oh, I hit 252s. Okay, no, what you did was, even if you did hit 252s, they were in your trunk all day long.
Yeah.
And then you took them
Yeah.
inside, so they're 52s that are 20 degrees. Like, just hitting him.
I got a bag of, like, a full bag is only about 70 balls of the 52s. I have, like, a good full bag. It takes me, like, a good hour of tee work to get through that if I'm concentrating and everything else.
Sure.
So, anyway, man, yeah, I'll let you go. I know you need to get to bed.
Yeah.
I got an early day tomorrow here, and then I fly out hopefully I'll be able to fly out tomorrow evening. So we'll see how everything goes. So,
Hold your breath, right?
yeah. But thanks for having me on, and keep in touch, man.
Yeah, man, for sure. Thanks for stopping in and checking out the podcast here. Season 9, Episode 2 is in the books with Stephen Robbs. Swing hard in case you hit it, guys. We'll catch you next time.